fashion designer Malone Blahnik celebrates his 65th birthday. Let's hope he has no plans to retire, especially before the Sex and the City movie's finished. Born in the Canary Islands, Manolo opened his first shop in Chelsea back in 1973, and he was awarded a CBE by the Queen earlier this year. And so, in honour of someone whose name is synonymous with glamour, let me proudly unveil Loose Women's midweek collection of fashionable footwear. Someone partial to a pair of knee-high boots, she calls them her riding gear. It's Jane McDonald! It's been a while since she's been propped up on a pair of 6 inches. It's Carol McGiffin! She prefers to keep it practical and is happiest in her well-worn trainers. That's Colleen Nolan. And although you wouldn't know it as I'm sitting down, I'm actually 6'6" in my cha-cha heels. I'm Andrea McLean. Coming up today, as a new survey reveals, only a fifth of Britons know the names of who they live next door to. Are we in danger of stopping good neighbours becoming good friends? And on our guest list today, he lit up our screens in Dempsey Makepeace, and he's here to tell us all about his new tour. That's Michael Brandon. And freed from their house arrest, especially to join us, it's Nancy Sorrell and Vic Reeves. Now, earlier this week, one of the papers told the sorry tale of 18-year-old Faye Rivers, who had a nightmare when taking her driving test. When the handbrake refused to work on her car and no help was forthcoming, she was abandoned by her examiner and left with her foot on the clutch until her instructor came to the rescue 20 minutes later. That seems such a shame, doesn't it? Poor girl, can you imagine that in your driving test, left sitting there with your foot on the clutch? Now, cast your mind back. I know it might have been a wee while ago, but how did your driving test go, Carol?
Well, I failed the first one, but my driving instructor was extremely helpful on the second one, because the first one I failed simply because of nerves and confidence. So
no,
on the second one, yeah, on the second one, the driving instructor gave me a Valium. He did, gave me a Valium. Only I know it wasn't really, was it? But it worked. I passed. And I never
remember it.
I can remember it. Yeah, I mean, Valium. All Valium does is calm you down, doesn't it? It doesn't make you go to sleep or anything. It was only half a little one. So, but it was great.
What was your first test like when you were all nervous?
I was really, really nervous. Just nervous, not confident, and I could, I didn't do anything particularly wrong, but
just jittery.
I think he could see that I wasn't ready to be on the road in charge of a car by myself.
But fueled with drugs, yes, you were.
Fueled with drugs, yes. Driving instructor gives drugs to a pupil. It's terrible.
Oh,
bless him.
I had a nightmare on my first one because I swore at a bus driver because he pulled out right in front of me, and I'm going round to the, what do they call them? Examiner. It is the examiner. And I went, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" Then he pulled right out in front of me, and he just went, fail. So I didn't.
First time, second time?
Second time I passed. I didn't swear once.
I passed first time, and I went in. It was kind of in a school uniform, but people kind of go, "Oh," but no. Wait till you hear what I was.
When she's 25.
Well, wait till you hear what I was wearing. Actually, yeah, no. I actually used to wear the jumpers that my granny knitted me, and you go, "Oh, thanks, that's really nice," and then put it in a drawer and forget about it. Well, I actually used to think, "Oh, she's gone to a lot of effort." So I actually wore, it was white, pink, and yellow zigzaggy stripes. Lovely. It was really not very nice at all, and I think he felt sorry for me more than anything else. So I actually passed first time.
Just wanted you out the car before he got sick.
Maybe.
Were you flirting with him?
Oh, no. No, not at all.
In your school uniform?
My school,
with
no.
Your granny's jumper.
I had a really nasty cord skirt on and my granny's jumper that.
Oh, it sounds lovely. I passed first time, girls. I have to say. Yes, it shocked you that. But let me just tell you. I'll just take you quickly.
You were quite old though, weren't you?
17. Let me just.
I thought you were older than that.
No, I was 17. Thank you. Quite a few years ago. Thank you. About 5 years ago. But I will just say that the week before, my sister had the same examiner. It was her first test, and she failed. And we had the same driving instructor, and he said, "Look, next week, if we walk in and it's him, you'll definitely fail, because he's a nightmare, he's an old man, don't pass anyone." So we walked in, it was him, wasn't it? We walked in, and I thought, oh, well. So when we you know, you walk out to the car and we got in, and it was very nerve-wracking and horrible. And anyway, he said, right, when you're ready, Miss Nolan, if you'd just like to set off. So we set off, and I got to the gates and stopped and went to go into first gear and realised I was in second gear from the off. So from that, I set off in second gear on my test.
You didn't stall, so that's good.
I didn't stall, and also I just laughed then, and I thought, well, I've absolutely blown it before I've got out the gates, so I failed. So I went out the gates and went on the wrong side of the road for a couple of minutes, and which was all right because it was an empty road. And then I did my three-point turn and put the back wheels on the pavement. And then he bangs the dashboard. And I'm driving along quite merrily, and he bashed the dashboard, and I thought, oh,
why
must
was
have been
he
a
bashing
fly.
the dashboard?
Well, for the emergency stop. But it was
you
so
know when to
long
stop.
ago since he said, now when I hit the dashboard, you know, I want you to do my... He said about 20 minutes before he did it.
You
so when he hit it, I thought, oh, the flies round here. So I carried on, missed the emergency stop, and then stalled a couple of times at the light. So when we got back, I thought, oh, well, that's it. And then they did the test, you know, the highway code, which 3 of them I got wrong, and the 4th one he gave me 20,000 clues on. And I thought, what's he doing here? Anyway, he passed me.
You what?
He said at the end, you've passed, and I said, no. Why? I can't drive. And then I said, oh, I'm so thrilled. And he went, well, you can give me a kiss if you like.
Oh, so he was flirting with you.
It was a little
Do you know,
bit.
it's been that way your whole life, Miss
It
Nolan.
was, absolutely. But anyway, I passed, but I didn't drive for 8 months because my test frightened the life out of me. I thought, I can't drive. I did everything wrong. And I said to him, how can you pass me? I drive so badly. Everything I did was wrong. And he said, yeah, but you did everything wrong with confidence, and I never once had to correct you.
You see, that's what it used to be about.
That's the
confidence.
thing, do it wrong with confidence and
Yeah.
you get away with murder.
Yeah, I've
And
made a
they used to
whole
pass you
career
on
out
that.
of it.
Absolutely.
I do the weather daily. OK, we're taking a short break now, but coming up, which loose lady do you reckon would make the best neighbour? Back soon. Welcome back to Wednesday Lunchtime with Loose Women. I'm Andrew McLean, and joining me on the Loose lineup today are Colleen Nolan, Carol McGiffin and Jane McDonald. Now, a survey out at the weekend claims that only a fifth of us knows who our neighbours are and feel able to call on them in an emergency. Experts are warning that a lack of neighbourly spirit could put elderly people who live alone in danger at this, the coldest time of the year. So, how well do you know your neighbours, and when did you last pay them a visit? And do you think that you're a good neighbour? And would you be there for yours if they needed any help? I imagine you're a lovely neighbour, Colleen.
I'm all right, I think. I think it's... Well, I don't know. Do I know my neighbours? Yes. It's not a case of... When I was growing up, where we lived, you know, in terraced houses, and my next-door neighbours were like my second family. You know, I was always just jumped over the wall into their house, and they'd come into our house. And it seemed that way then. You just knew all your neighbours. But where I am now, although I know my neighbours to say hello to, you know, we've never had, you know, a cup of tea together or... But I know, you know, if I
How
needed
long have
their
you been
help... 7 years.
7 years, and you've never even been in for a cup of tea?
No, I've been in her house, but it's normally to borrow something.
That you're too lazy to go to the garage to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I know them. I'm friendly with them, and they're friendly with us. But it's not like it was when I was a kid, and I do think that's quite sad. Really.
Yeah, I
you know,
do.
and when I lived in London, it was different actually, because people say it's the kind of north-south divide thing again, and they're friendlier up north and blah blah blah. But I think it's where you live, because when I lived in London, the 2 houses that I had in London were in a cul-de-sac. I didn't have 2 houses at the same time. You know, when I moved to another house. And they're in a cul-de-sac, and because it was your own little kind of community in the cul-de-sac, that was different. I knew all the neighbours, and all the kids used to go into each other's houses. But now where I live, which is on more of a main road, it's a really long road, so it'd be impossible to know everyone on that road.
Do you like it that way now, or would you prefer
No, I miss
to
the
have a
old
more
days. I
friendly
like
environment?
being able to, you know, or when you're going away, say to the neighbours, you know, keep an eye on